All right, I hope everyone had a great break and a great lunch. And so we're back to wrap things up. Let me make sure everyone is a co-host who should be a co-host. All right, Tim Molina.
Hello.
Hi, so what is happening with Mr. Salazar?
We got a new offer today, quite different from the last one. And we just need some more time to work through a few things and confer. I think by the next setting, we'll know if it's going to plea or just go on to a trial.
All right, and are we going to have any more issues? Because I had noted in December, when it was reset for December 3rd, I had word that the defendant did not want to appear.
I don't know if there was an issue, not that I'm aware of. Maybe there was just something going on with him in December. No, we've had an easy time dealing with each other.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, on Mr. Salazar, can I have a 30-day reset in the chat box, please? A regular reset.
And Tim, before you leave, I need to see you in a breakout room to get some info.
All right, we're going to come back on March 16th. And I'll note that an offer has been tendered. Mr. Molina, have you received all the evidence?
Yes.
Okay. All right, March 16th will be a regular reset date. And then the next date I will give you will be your plea deadline date.
Okay.
Do you need to speak with your client anymore?
I don't.
All right, Norma Salazar, 187, Salazar can go back. All right, and then Mr. Molina, I'll send you to breakout room number 2.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, anyone else ready? I see Andrea Mateos.
Yes, Judge, I have an off-docket matter for a motion. I wanted to see if I could talk to the prosecutor and then we can make an announcement with you.
All right, what is the defendant's name?
Defendant's name is Vincent Hutniak, Hutnyak.
Hutnyak. All right, is it criminal trial division or family violence?
Criminal trial division.
All right, is there a criminal trial division prosecutor available for an off-docket matter? I'm going to send them to breakout room number 2. Okay, and Norma, I think Mr. Molina just left the Zoom instead of going to number 2 to see. Here he is. All right, I'll send you to 2. And then on the other attorney, I'll send you to breakout room number 3. And if a criminal trial division prosecutor can go to breakout room number 3, please. All right, and Norma, did you receive an update on the attorneys who are here for Whitestone? I'm sorry, not Whitestone, for the civil commitment.
Judge, let me check my emails. Give me 1 second.
All right, thank you.
Not yet, Judge. I know they started back up in Wrong Hills Court at 1.
Okay. And then Norma, if you can get Kelly Piddle in here, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mary Peterzak. To the courtroom, is Jonathan Ochoa in the courtroom?
Not here, Judge.
All right, thank you. Hi, Kelly Piddle. How's the baby?
Baby's great, Judge. Sorry about this morning. I was stuck in Guadalupe County in person, and I forgot about y'all.
Oh, no. Well, you were doing fine till you said you forgot about us. You should have just said, I'm sorry, I'm late, Judge. Well, we're stuck in Guadalupe County, but it's like, I forgot about y'all.
Candor to the court is always important.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put it at the feet of the baby because I know when babies are new, they run the household.
That's true.
We're just gonna say the baby wouldn't let you appear.
That's it, Judge. That's exactly right.
Okay. All right, have you had any contact with your client,
I
Mr.
have not,
Rodriguez?
fortunately. No, I'm not. Wish I
Okay.
had.
All right, is there a prosecutor available for us to place this on the record?
I can jump in, Judge.
Thank you. All right, the court is going to call 2021 CR 7773, State of Texas versus Christopher Rodriguez. Can I have parties announced for the state?
Ryan Groomer for the state of Texas.
For the defense?
Kelly Piddle.
We're proceeding by Zoom because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
None from the state, Judge.
Any objection from the defense?
No.
All right, this hearing was actually scheduled on February 7th at 9 a.m. The defendant did not appear, and the court recalled it for today to give the defense counsel a chance to get in touch with his client. It is currently 2:09 p.m. The defendant was required to be here at 9 a.m. Deputy Laura, has there been a Christopher Rodriguez in the courtroom at all today?
No, Your Honor, he has not.
And there has not been a Christopher Rodriguez on the Zoom at all today either. Mr. Piddle, have you had any contact with your client?
I have not, Judge, unfortunately.
State?
Yes, Judge. At this point, Judge, the state would move the court to revoke Mr. Rodriguez's bond, and we'd ask the court to revoke his bond.
Okay. And I could be wrong. I'm going to have the clerks check, but I believe the bondsmen have removed themselves from his bond, and they stated that they had concerns that he would not appear. To the clerks, can you check the record to see, at least check the system to see whether or not the bondsman filed an affidavit to surrender surety on Christopher Rodriguez?
Yes, Judge, let me check really quick.
Thank you. I want to say, Mr. Piddle, that I signed those documents.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct, Judge. There's an off bond on here.
So there is an off bond.
Okay. Is that on both cases, Judge?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so we'll wait for your client to be taken into custody, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to remand him without bond. And then, Mr. Piddle, if you're able to get in touch with him, then the court will, of course, reconsider.
Okay.
All right, and did your client have two cases that he was indicted on or only one?
That's what I was just trying to check right now to see if the second one was indicted. No, the one, it looks like one of them was a night mag.
All right, I'll remand your client without bond in cause number 2021 CR 7773. If you are able to get in touch with your client, of course, the court will reconsider.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, then we're going to proceed on Frank Marino. And Ms. Mateos, did you have a chance to speak with them on Hutton yet?
I did, Your Honor. So we filed a motion to return seized property, and my understanding is that the defense is not. Oh,
Yes?
Sorry, I believe there's no objection to the motion.
All right, then if there's no objection to the motion, if you'll file an agreed motion and email it to the court and include the state in the email, the court will consider that.
This is not.
Okay, thank you,
All
Judge.
right. You're welcome. As soon as that's done, the court will take care of it.
Thank you.
All right, who are the parties on Frank Marino?
Michael Villarreal.
Let me find you. Michael, you just disappeared. Oh, there you are. All right, and where is Frank Marino?
I can have him come up, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Trisha Morales Padilla, a representing defendant, who's present and we're ready.
All right, the court is calling 2021 CR 8892, State of Texas versus Frank Christopher Marino. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Michael Villarreal for the state.
for the defense?
Trisha Morales Padilla for the defendant, who's present and we're ready.
All right, and are you Frank Christopher Marino?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. The court will note for the record that the defendant and defense counsel are in the courtroom. Is there any objection with this hearing taking place by video? State?
Not from the state.
Defense?
Do you have any objection?
No, ma'am.
No.
All right, the court will note that on December 14th, the defendant entered a plea of no contest. I believe this was done with a different judge because I don't see any information written on the docketing sheet. I have reviewed State's Exhibits 1 and attachments that were admitted under that judge. And if it wasn't said by that judge, I am finding that there's sufficient evidence to find him guilty. However, deferred finding of guilt as he applied for deferred adjudication. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 7 years. There's a $1,500 fine. The state opposes the application for deferred adjudication. There is an affirmative finding of family violence. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State?
I have, Your Honor.
Defense?
I don't believe I've seen it, Your Honor, no.
Oh, well, then we're going to take a short recess. And Ms. Reyes, could you email a copy of the PSI report to Defense Counsel, please? And Defense, if you'll put your email in the chat box.
Yes.
For us. And to the clerks, I'm sending you the motion with the no objections. Could you please print that out for me, please?
I just sent it right now, Judge.
All right, thank you.
I got a kickback. I'm gonna resend it.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Miss Padilla, I sent it again.
I got it.
Just 1 second, I need to talk to you about this. Excuse me, to the parties on Hudniak, could I see you all in the breakout room, please?
Yes, Judge.
Who is the prosecutor you were speaking with?
Mr. Marcus, I believe. Yes, Marcus Sanders.
All right, if I could see you all in breakout number 4. Whenever you all are ready, we can start. Miss Morales? Do you need a printout of that? Would that help you better?
No, I'm okay. I'm almost done.
All right, because if you want to print out, we'll print you out one from back here and we can just take it to you.
This is okay. Thank you though.
Sure. I know
Give me one
sometimes
more
looking
minute.
on the phone, it's like teeny tiny.
I know.
Oh, are you all ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right, we're back on the record. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Any objections to the PSI report from the state?
None, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
No.
All right, state you're opposed to the defendant's application.
Yes, Your Honor. The state has 3 witnesses.
All right, who's your first witness?
First, I'm going to call Ruby Obregon.
All right, Ruby Overground, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You need to unmute yourself. I can't hear you. Is your volume up? We cannot hear you. If you could, see if you could, I guess, when it requests for sound on your end, you need to give it permission.
On all the way. Yeah. Oh,
Okay, all right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. And what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to keep your voice up and speak loudly because the court reporter has to take down what is being said. And I know she's having difficulty hearing. I'm having slight difficulty hearing. So if you could make sure you speak up for us. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Ruby Obregon.
All right, and how do you spell your first name?
Rubie.
And your last name?
Obregon.
All right, thank you. State.
Your Honor. Ruby, how do you know a person by the name of Sabrina Reynosa?
She's my mom.
Okay. And are you her only child?
No.
Okay. How many other kids does your mom have? Did your mom have?
2.
2. And as far as the 3 of y'all, what's the order? Are you the oldest, youngest, middle?
I'm the oldest.
Okay. So do you have 2 younger siblings?
Yes.
And what are their names and what are their ages?
Ruben, he's the middle. He's 14, and my sister Savannah, who is 9 or 10.
Okay. So you are the daughter of Sabrina Reynosa, the person who passed away in this case, correct?
Correct.
So I want to just generally talk about your mother and your relationship. How was your relationship with your mother?
It was getting better, and it was like we were growing and becoming like actual like ideal mother and daughter.
Okay. And is that during that time period you're talking about closer to when she died?
Yes.
Before that, what was your relationship like?
We didn't really like talk much because I lived with my grandparents, so I wasn't living with her, but she would invite me places and invite me to hang out. So
Okay. So you say towards the closer to the time that she died, you were growing your relationship with her.
yes.
When you found out that your mother had passed away, how did you feel?
I was very heartbroken, and it was very overwhelming. It was a lot of anger and sadness.
Okay. It's been some time since she's passed, and how do you feel today?
The same.
Okay. So as far as your mother's passing, how has it affected you?
It's affected me a lot because everyone should have their mothers in their life, and I had to continue my life without mine.
And how old are you today?
I'm 15.
Okay. And what grade are you in?
I'm in 10th grade.
So you haven't graduated yet.
No.
So is it fair to say your mother will never see your graduation?
Yes.
Or if you decide to have kids, your pregnant belly?
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to get married, she'll never be at your wedding.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, she'll never be there to help you raise them. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Defense?
No questions.
All right, call your next witness.
Say to call Virginia Dykes. I'm sorry, I'll call Virginia, I'm sorry, Reynosa.
All right, who is Virginia Reynosa?
I'm sorry, Nora Reynosa.
All right, Nora Reynosa. All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If you could state your name for the record, please.
Nora Reynosa.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reynosa, how are you related to the deceased in this case, Sabrina Reynosa?
Sabrina is my niece.
Okay. Can you briefly describe your relationship with with Sabrina?
Well, we were very close because she was real tight with my daughter, and they got even more closer before my daughter passed away, because she passed away from cancer. But Sabrina was always around. We got closer, and for me, Sabrina kind of like became a daughter. And we got to talk a lot. We got to discuss stuff. And since Ruby was always with us, we would discuss Ruby all the time. And I was always there to help her out when she needed babysitters, because sometimes she had to get 2 jobs. And I was there to be there to take her places and do whatever she needed.
Okay. I know it's not polite to ask a woman's age, but approximately how many years older are you than Sabrina?
We're about 30 years apart?
Okay, about 30 years apart. So you're about 30 years old when she was born.
Yes.
As far as Sabrina's upbringing, were you a major part of that?
Off and on.
Was there a point in in Sabrina's life that you had to take on a greater motherly role?
No, not really. Only when my sister got hurt that she fell out of a balcony and she shattered her tailbone. I took over helping her out with her kids and, taking care of her place and, making sure that the kids got to school and they got something to eat and everything.
Okay. I want to particularly ask you about how has Sabrina's death affected you?
But it hit me really hard. It's like I lost a daughter all over again. And I just couldn't believe it in the beginning, but it's hard because we had just talked no more than an hour before. And, when it happened and everything, it hit really hard. So, but it's affected me because it's a struggle to see these kids suffer, to turn around and now that my sister is also gone, which was Sabrina's mom, which would be the kid's grandmother, it's really hard for when we did have the get-togethers and the little ones that we have right now to have these kids. And I try my best to be there for them, to make them happy, do whatever, because they don't have a mother, they don't have a grandmother.
Okay.
So it's hard.
As far as Ruby is concerned, have you had to take on a greater role in her upbringing since Sabrina's passing?
Oh, yes.
Does Ruby live with you?
Yes.
Okay. And are you basically her main caretaker?
Oh, yes.
Did you ever expect to be raising a teenager in your 60s?
No, but I've been helping out all my grandchildren too, so I'm used to it.
Ruby says that she has 2 other siblings. I believe their names are Ruben and Savannah, correct?
Yes.
Have you seen how that's affected them?
In the beginning, yes.
Okay, I want to talk about them individually. How have you seen this affect Ruben?
Ruben, it's really hard to know anything because he is really a tight, closed person. He doesn't show his emotions, and he really doesn't. We try to discuss it. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Okay. As far as Savannah is concerned, have you seen how this has affected Savannah's?
In the beginning, it was really a struggle for all of us because she witnessed what happened to her mom. So we try to be our best to be there for her because she had a lot of nightmares and dreams, and it was a struggle because knowing that her mom's not going to be around, her being the baby, and knowing that her mom's not there no more. So it was really hard for all of us to try to make her feel comfortable, to feel loved, and to make her understand that we're still there as a family for her.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, defense, any questions?
No questions.
Excuse me, where is he going?
No, I'm just putting.
All right, call your next witness, please. All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record, please.
Virginia Martinez Dykes.
All right, could you spell your last name for the record, please?
DYKES.
All right, state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Dykes, how are you related to Sabrina?
I'm her aunt and her godmother.
Okay. And as far as your relationship prior to Sabrina's passing, can you describe for the judge what your relationship was like?
We were close. Anytime she needed anything, I would go help her. She wanted me to do anything, I'd do it. I fixed her car for her. Anything she wanted, help her move when she needed to move, took care of the kids, bought her whatever she needed, anytime she needed, because she was constantly working.
As far as kind of your role in raising Sabrina, what was your role in raising Sabrina?
We When she was a teenager, I took her for a couple of times because her and my sister would argue, and I'd go and pick her up. We'd take her. She'd stay with us for a while. I always was, anytime she wanted a ride, she wanted whatever, I was always there for her.
At some point in her life, did you have to take on more of a motherly role?
Yes, when I had to put my sister in a nursing home, I took over her mother.
And why did you have to put your sister in a nursing home?
She had medical problems. She had
Okay.
medical problems. When she fell off, like my sister said earlier, and she just started to unable to walk anymore, and her medications had to be monitored and so forth.
So is it fair to say that you took on kind of a motherly role for her?
Yes.
As kind of Sabrina as an adult, what was your relationship like?
As an adult?
When she was an adult versus when she was more towards a youth?
Oh, I was still like her mom.
I want to talk about how this has particularly affected you. Can you explain to the judge how this Sabrina's death has affected you?
Oh, I was devastated when I found out she had died. Like I said, her mother was in a nursing home, so I had to go with the children if anything needed to be done to say their goodbyes. I had to help with her funeral. I had to, we had to go clean out our house. We had to do everything for her.
In particular, has this affected your mental health?
Yes, I am on depression medication.
Okay, were you on depression medication prior to her death?
No.
So subsequent to her death that you were put on medication?
Yes.
When we talk about Sabrina's 3 kids, Ruby, Ruben, and Savannah, have you had interactions with them since Sabrina's passing?
Yes.
Okay.
I have.
I want to take on each one individually. Have you seen how this has affected Ruby?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe for the court how this has affected Ruby?
She's more quieter now. She's distant. She's not happy like the way she used to be.
How has this affected Ruben?
Ruben is sad and mad. He has called me and cried to me and told me how much he misses his mother. And it's hard for him because he lives with his father and they don't allow very many phone calls to us.
Okay. How has this affected Savannah?
She misses all the love her mother used to give her, all the holding her and all the cuddles and so forth. She doesn't have them anymore. It's not the same. Even though we do it, it's still not the same. And she still cries for her.
Have you noticed any behavioral issues with Savannah?
Yes, she's having trouble at school. She's not wanting to do her work. She used to love school before her mother passed. Now she knows she has to go there. She has to do her work, but it's a struggle for her.
And since Sabrina's passing, as far as the kids are concerned, do they all live together?
No.
Okay.
Ruby lives with my sister, and the 2 youngest live with their father. Ruby does not live with their father because he had already started a family of his own when Sabrina passed. And Ruby and his wife just were not getting along, so she went back to live with my sister.
Okay. So prior to that, the family wasn't really separated like that, correct?
No, not at all.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
No questions.
All right, any other witnesses?
No further witnesses from the state, Your Honor.
All right, any witnesses from the defense?
Just my argument, Your Honor.
All right, the court will hear argument. State your post. You can begin.
Yes, Your Honor. First, I'd like to note in the PSI, as far as the defendant's own accountability, self-accountability in this case. He believes that what he did was not a crime. And so it's hard for these family to accept pure atonement when the person who caused the death of their mother, of somebody who felt like their mother, when the defendant himself can't take accountability for what we know. Obviously he didn't plead to an intentional or knowingly act, but what he did was reckless. And the facts in which he described are just incompatible with the stipulations, that the victim opened the door and essentially caused herself to fall, and that's how she hit her head, and versus him accelerating at a high rate of speed, knowing that she was behind the door, causing her to fall, hit her head, and then die. And so based on that, based on the impact that this has had on not just Sabrina, but across 3 different children, across 2 people who stepped in place as a mother, having to bury essentially their kid, kids having to bury their mother at such a young age. And so I think just the nature of the crime in and of itself is deserving of somebody going to prison. But when you add on the fact that he can't even take accountability for what he did, it's even more deserving of prison in this case, Your Honor. And so the state is asking that you deny his application for deferred adjudication and that you sentence him to the full 7 years of prison. Thank you.
All right, defense.
Your Honor, this is an extremely unfortunate occurrence. I think that we can all agree it's a tragedy on all ends of the spectrum. Unfortunately, the complainant is deceased, and I understand the anger and the outrage. My client was dating her as well. There's anger and outrage on his end. Although, as you can see from the reports and all the evidence that's been admitted, they did have a tumultuous relationship. And although, the relationship may have issues with drinking and intoxication, that wasn't a factor on this night that we're talking about. My client wasn't intoxicated in any sense. They were out at a public place. Unfortunately, the complainant was seen physically assaulting my client, yelling at him, and my client was trying to defuse the situation by leaving and flee the scene. Unfortunately, it was just a perfect storm of events, and getting in the vehicle and reversing, and the complainant grabbing the door and getting knocked down. There's different accounts of exactly what happened. I think it's one of those instances where it just all happened so fast. And I think it's extremely unfortunate that we're even here in this situation. For that reason, though, my client did attempt to render aid at the scene. He did stay. He was cooperative. He was also extremely upset. Again, they were in a dating relationship. I think that it would be remiss to say that my client isn't upset and doesn't have tragedy also having to deal with this incident himself. So we're asking, Your Honor, that he be given the opportunity to serve out a deferred adjudication. He does have a job at Adam's Pizzeria. He has been working there for, I believe, at least 6 months, 8 months, if not longer.
Excuse me, is he going to give testimony?
He is not.
Then why is he speaking?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
No, my question is, why are you speaking if you're not giving testimony?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
We're in a courtroom, and the way the legal system works here is your attorney said that she had no witnesses to call, which means there will be no testimony coming. Now, if you would like to say something, then I will put you under oath. So what would you like to do?
No, I apologize. I'm sorry about that.
No, my question is, if you would like to testify, I will place you under oath. What would you like to do?
No, I don't. No, I wouldn't like to testify. I apologize for the inconvenience.
All right, defense?
Thank you. We would ask that you grant his application for deferred, Your Honor.
All right, State, you have last argument.
Your Honor, I find it hard to argue the fact that this person who caused the death of somebody is suffering their own tragedy. And based on an action of their own, that should be taken as a mitigating factor regarding his case. That, well, he was dating her and then he caused her death, so we should feel bad for him. If that's what the whole defensive theory about mitigation is concerned, I think it's an easy case for the court to deny his application and send him to prison for this full 7 years. It hasn't caused him to have to be raised without a mother, like 3 kids here, or for a family to be without a loved one for the rest of their lives in a very tragic instance. And so we're again asking that you deny his application and send him to prison.
All right, everyone, just give me a moment, please.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult.
All right, so we're going to recall this for Friday. I'm going to make my ruling at that time. From what I'm not the person who took this plea. The person who took this plea was a different judge. What I've read in the Psi report, and then I went over the stipulation with a fine-tooth comb. What I've read, and this is from numerous witnesses, not that just one witness, and I have internalized everything that the witnesses have said. I've reviewed the PSI report, as I always do, and I've read the stipulations in great detail. And what I've read in the stipulations is that this was a violent relationship. What I'm reading for some witnesses is that the defendant was the aggressor. I'm reading from other witnesses that the complainant was the aggressor. In the case that we're here for today, which is the only thing that we're here for today, is according to the stipulated evidence, is there was an argument outside of a pizza place. The complainant was hitting on the defendant. The defendant jumps in a car to leave. The stipulations don't tell me who this car belonged to. It's not in the report. And that the complainant grabs onto the door. Defendant is driving excessively. But again, in the stipulation, nobody tells me what the speed was. I don't know if the police officers got a speed that the car was going. All I know is they're saying it was going too fast. And then I have the defendant coming to a full stop. I have the complainant falling when the defendant comes to a full stop and hits her head. So we're going to come back on Friday. I'm going to make my ruling. And at that time on Friday, if anyone wants to present any other evidence to me, they can. But I want to take my time and go over this packet again to make sure that I know all the parties. And when I say all the parties, because as the defense counsel in state knows, when you're reading the stipulated evidence, you have people labeled as 01, 02, 03, 04, witness 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so I want to make sure I have all the witnesses together in my mind, who the witnesses are. And I want to make an appropriate ruling and a just ruling. So we're going to come back on Friday. And if anybody has any other witnesses they want to present to me, you can. But I'm going to make my ruling on Friday. And I think it's appropriate that I do that because I want to give full weight to the testimony that's been given to me. And I want to make sure that I've reread all of the stipulations. Because again, I'm not the judge who took this plea, and there was nothing written on the docketing sheet.
This is a planning for, regardless of the court's ruling for victim impact. Do you know what time you're going to set it Friday so that we can have them here or on Zoom?
Well,
present?
I want to, well, let's do this. We're off the record. Miss, who will be your victim impact?
All three we're hoping to do victim impact, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Dykes, Ms. Oberon, and Ms. Reynosa. Will you all be able to come back on Friday? I mean, if you can't, just let the court know and we'll set it for another day. But I'm seeing head shakes that they're able to come back on Friday. Does anyone anticipate that you're all going to have more witnesses based upon the statements that I've made? State?
I don't anticipate, but I will let the court know in advance that I will if we're approaching that, but I don't anticipate.
All right, defense.
I don't anticipate either. I'll let the court know, but I don't.
All right, so Ms. Ferguson, can we put this then on Friday at 9? And once I assign all of the defense attorneys to breakout rooms, I'm going to take this case up first. So I'm going to need everyone to be here no later than 9:30.
Yes, Your Honor.
And again, just to clarify, we need to be present in court, me and my client.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So Ms. Ferguson, are we able to put this on Friday, 9:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she say yes, Brenda? All right. So we'll see you guys on Friday at 9:30. To Ms. Oberon, Ms. Reynosa, and Ms. Dykes, I appreciate you coming in. but I always, I take all of these cases very seriously. And I like to go through everything with a fine tooth comb so I can just make sure I have all the parties straight. Okay?
Judge, can you put me in a breakout room with them, please? This is Marina.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will assign you all to breakout room number 1. And Mr. Villarreal, you can go to 1 if you need to go to 1 with them.
May we be excused, Your Honor?
You need to get a reset form.
Okay.
Okay, and Marina, I'm so sorry. I don't think I've sent you there yet.
No, not yet.
All right, there you are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Mary Petersak, Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, Judge.
So where's Mr. Ochoa?
That's a great question, Judge. I was talking to him via phone earlier, encouraging him to follow the court's order. If I can talk, if Michael's still around, if I can talk to him about his cases, maybe.
Yes, Michael's in breakout room number 1. As soon as he comes back from breakout room number 1, I will send you there.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so everyone, we're going to stop live stream. We're going to be back on Wednesday. Let me check my calendar and make sure we're going to be back on Wednesday at 9. Just 1 second. No, actually, Ms. Ferguson, we're going to start on Wednesday. We're going to start at 10:30.
Yes, ma'am. 10:30?
10:30, is that possible?
Yeah, that's fine, Judge.
All right, so on Wednesday, we're going to start court at 10:30 because I have a judges meeting.